Hi, guys. Welcome back. Before I bring on our next guest, I just have a little announcement to make. This podcast is now available on your favorite audio platforms. Just go to subtushana-thisistheway.buzzsprout.com. So now I'd like to welcome Landon Prather to the show. Hi, Landon.
Hey, how are you?
Good, good. Landon is a fellow Sub2 community member. He's a real estate investor. He's a member of the Owners Club, and he's a phenomenal closer. Yeah, I predict he's going to be the next Closer Olympics winner, which is why I have all the trophies.
I hope so.
Yeah. So if you want to hear Landon in action, you can see him on the YouTube channel where I made video recordings of him making calls to agents. You might have seen them already. So, Landon, tell us about how you first found Sub2 and when you joined.
Oh, goodness. Okay. So this was probably in the middle of 22. 21, 22. So, a little bit after COVID hit, I started getting into some Grant Cardone. Started following him, watching him. I liked some of the things he was talking about. I ran across Nate Barger, who does the Burr method. He's out in Cincinnati, which is kind of close to me. And then I come across Pace, just from searching real estate videos, things like that. He popped up one day, and he was
YouTube?
the one that
YouTube?
I think it was YouTube. And he was the one that I kind of resonated with the most, and that I understood on a more personal level the most. He seemed more like a go-giver, which, after knowing him for a year and a half now, that's exactly what he is. He's freaking amazing. The other ones seemed very sales pitchy, which Grant Cardone, he's more into multifamily and stuff, but they, between him and Nate, they were always trying to sell something. But yeah, I came across Pace, loved what he was doing. Everything that he said made sense to me. And I'm like, why isn't everybody buying property like this? So I joined in November of 22, and the rest is history.
Yeah. So, what areas, what are your passions in the areas of focus in real estate and in Sub2?
Generally, I'm mainly focused on wholesaling right now, because I'm working on Today Money while also trying to build my portfolio. So, while working on Today Money and doing some wholesales, you run across a deal here and there that's really good and hard to pass up. So those are the ones that, I'd want to take down myself. Low entry fee, seller finance deals at 0%. Those are phenomenal. So just things like that, mainly wholesale for Today Money, but also the long-term play is to build my portfolio.
Okay. So what are your markets?
So right now I've been focused mainly in Florida, Tampa, Orlando, Clearwater. I've even done some down in Cape Coral, working on one in Cape Coral right now. That's a beautiful area. So mainly Florida, some in Kentucky, but not much. My market here is very limited, very small. So that's why I've kind of expanded.
Yeah. So you're in Kentucky right now, right?
I am. Owensboro, Kentucky, 60,000 people.
Say Louisville for me.
Louisville. Everybody that lives in Kentucky calls it Louisville. Anybody outside, I've heard Louisville, Louisville, just about everything.
Right. That's like a lot of people from Maryland. They're Baltimore.
Oh yeah, Baltimore. Yeah.
I always say Baltimore. I grew up there and I say that, but most people, hey, hon, don't speak like me. You know what I'm saying?
I haven't gotten to travel there yet. I've been to New York City once, and that's about as far north as I got. And that was in 2005. Haven't been back since.
Yeah, well, I mean, New York is north of us, so you might have went through it. I don't know. You're like a little east.
I think we went around DC and stuff like that when because we drove. We were young. We didn't have money to fly.
Here's a fun fact. You ready? Back when the states were being formed and stuff, Maryland and Virginia both gave up part of their land so that DC could be right in the middle and they could have the capital right there.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, so you say you joined in 2022, like when in 2022? How long have you been in?
November, about a year. So what? Yeah, almost just a little over a year and a half now.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So you're like about a half a year longer than me.
Yeah, I didn't have a whole lot of time to focus on it last year though because of the dealership business I was running. So I really
Mhm.
didn't get to dive headfirst until the end of this January. But made a lot of
Mm.
great connections along the way. Got to learn a lot of things that's kind of helped, propel me in what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of how we met. I mean, you went in one of the Zooms, and then I put my little blink link in there, and like anybody that wants to make calls together or just reach out, and that's how we connected.
That's right. I love making calls. It's what I do every day.
Yeah, I love listening to you. I'm your biggest fan.
Well, I appreciate that.
Hey, you're
I've still
welcome.
got a lot to learn.
Yeah, but you're great. I can't wait for the Closers Olympics. Do you remember what time of year that usually is? Have you seen it
I
before?
don't. I didn't even know that and the closers octagon were a thing until DQ told me about them. So
Yeah, well,
looking
last
into it.
year was the first year for the Closers Octagon because that was all actually put together by Daniel Q,
Yep.
and it was like mainly sub two people focused, but
Hmm.
absolutely.
I'll be in it.
So go ahead.
I
What
said
was
I'll
that?
be in it.
Yeah, heck yeah. So do you have any advice for someone just starting out in the sub two community?
It, yeah, I mean, and it depends on kind of what their focus or their goal is. One thing I've noticed with a lot of people, including myself, is when I started, there's so much information and there's so many different avenues to go that you really need to figure out, kind of what your avatar is. And if I'm being honest, I haven't even watched the Avatar series all the way through. I just know I'm a visionary. I have ideas. I like talking to people, and I'm terrible on being an integrator and the back end stuff, and I'm not organized whatsoever. So, kind of pick what you're good at. I mean, everybody knows kind of what their strong point is. Even if they're not the best at it, there's still room to grow, right? So, pick a lane and stay in it. Don't get overwhelmed by all the options. Pace calls it shiny object syndrome because there literally are 100 different ways you can make money in this business. So, pick your avenue and stick with it.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. So like you said you were pretty focused on like the dealership. You used to sell cars.
Yeah, well, I've been in the car business for 10 years. About the same time that I joined Sub 2, I quit my W 2 and we started a business. It's basically like a travel sales team where we go to dealerships all over the country. If they're not hitting the goals that they want, they bring us in. We do a bunch of advertising and marketing for them that helps bring in a lot of traffic. And then when they show up to the dealership, it's my job to close them on buying a new car. So I pretty much called us hitmen for hire.
Wow. Okay. So have you built a team or anything like that? Like what are your future goals? Like I know you
Well,
want
as
to
far as the
wholesale.
dealership or the real estate?
Oh, the real estate. Are you still doing the dealership thing?
No, I've pretty much pivoted away from the dealership gig. Real estate's taken all my time and focus, and that's okay because I feel like real estate's more scalable than the dealership business. It's tough to be very consistent in that business. To whereas real estate, you can always make money in real estate.
Especially with the economy the way it is right now too, I guess. Like cars are like people can kind of, I guess get used cars and it's not a great time
Yeah, buy
for
them
it.
off Facebook. A lot
Mhm,
of people are behind in payments right now, just like they are in houses.
mhm.
So they come in wanting a lower payment, and we can't help them because they have too much negative equity. So, you know, doing sub two in the vehicle world, Mike Davis is great at that. I actually roomed with him at Squad Up, and he's doing all the vehicle purchases and stuff with Pace and Molly, I think. So he's a great one to reach out about that. But me and him were trying to collab on a way to help people that are behind on their car payments. Much like door knocking pre foreclosures is a way to help people behind on their house payments.
Wow. Do you think you'll ever get like maybe a small fleet of cars and like run on subject to and like rent them out on Toro or something?
You could, and a lot of people are doing that. I would position myself as, again, the wholesaler for that. I don't want to
Okay.
have to, um, put them up on Turo and drive the cars to the airport and park them for when the person that rents it, that's where they needed it. So I would more wholesale that to a Mike, or Mike knows somebody that is doing that. I met a couple guys that live in Miami that are running a Turo business at Squad Up as well. So many different avenues, but no, I wouldn't be the in buyer per se for those cars. I would just want to get them under contract, wholesale them, and then let somebody else that's already running an active Turo business do that.
Yeah, I had my first Toro experience in 2022, actually. I went down to Florida, as a matter of fact, around the Fort Myers, Cape Coral area. And I was looking at moving down there, and I rented a Mustang GT convertible on
Yeah,
Turo for like half
that's
the
right.
price of like a Prius. It's
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, this is awesome." So, yeah, as soon as I found Sub 2 and joined Sub 2 and then heard about doing it with cars, I was like, "Oh, yeah, I had a great experience." That car was spotless. I was like, "Wow."
Yeah, it's the way to go.
Yeah. Where would you get them? Like, where would you
Um, well, so what I was thinking about doing is running like a paid Facebook ad, just like a lot of people are setting up bandit signs and running paid Facebook ads for houses. Like, hey,
Mhm.
we buy houses cash. Okay. Well, I would put one on Facebook that says, are you behind on your car payment? Have you tried to trade your vehicle recently and you have too much negative equity, and you can't get out from under it? Multiple different reasons why people don't want that car anymore. Kind of
Mhm.
advertising it that way, and then having all that traffic brought to me, because you can't really cold call people with vehicles. You don't know who's behind in your payments. I mean, there's
Right. There's no
no record
database
of that.
to
Right.
draw
So
from.
if you can make a good enough ad, then they will reach out to you. And in my experience with the traveling sales, when we did do paid Facebook advertisements, we'd have a ton of interest, 500 to 700 comments of people wanting their, quote unquote voucher to come trade at the dealership that we were throwing the sell at. So I know there's lots of people out there in need right now.
Well, let me know if you wanna partner on that marketing stuff. I love marketing.
Yep, for sure.
I would
I'm not the best
love
at that.
do what?
I'm not the best at marketing, but I can do the talking.
Right, you can do the talking. Yeah, I would love to put that together. And then, we could also put something together for houses as well as maybe even RVs.
Hmm.
I know there's a lot of people in the community that are looking for RVs, me being one of them.
There are. Yeah, I
Um, I,
haven't really dabbled in that market yet, so I'm not super familiar with it. But it's all the same. You're just talking to a seller.
yeah, yeah. So, I mean, cars would be a good thing to start with because they're more of a necessity than like RVs,
Hmm.
but for sure. So, Squad Up. Wow, that was phenomenal, wasn't it?
It was an experience that was amazing. Pace always knows how to put on a show.
For real. And I mean, there was just so much positive energy, and not to mention all the things that we learned. It was way more than just like a business seminar. It was kind of in that category, but it was like one big giant meetup,
Yep,
you know?
like-minded people. It was great. All the networking out in the hall, the networking at the little hotel bar area after the event would happen. Every night people were up till super late, myself included.
I think one of the differences was, when you go to a lot of business seminars, sometimes most of the time you're just meeting a bunch of strangers. But at Squad Up, it was like those were people that we had kind of gotten to know online and felt
Hmm.
pretty close to online. So we kind of already knew them, had already talked to them, had already been in Zooms with them many times and this and that. We were kind of meeting them in person.
Right.
And
Yep.
it was
People that you see on the East Coast morning dial, the West Coast morning dial,
Mhm.
Pace puts on, I think he said 30 something Zooms a week, for all the different areas of the Sub 2 community. So you get on there every day, you see these people, you interact with them so that when you show up and you see them in person, you feel like you kind of already know them.
Yeah, there were a handful of people that I was really shocked to see. They weren't small, but they just felt so much larger than life online. And then by the time you got to meet them in person, you're like, oh wow, they're not like 7 feet tall. It's
Yeah, there
weird.
were a few that I met like that, but I'm tall myself. I'm 6'3", so I'm used to it.
Oh yeah. I'm a little shorty then. You're more than a foot taller than me. I'm like five
Oh, wow.
two.
Okay.
And then I saw Angie Milanazzo when I met her. I mean, she's got this gorgeous, full, thick hair, right? And she was like my size. I was
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, you just seem like such a lioness, online.
She
And
did the wrap up on stage. That was cool.
yes, she made this rap about pace. It was awesome. That was so cool. I think she's doing another one.
Oh, is she? Okay. Well,
Yeah,
that'll be
she's,
interesting. When's she going to
yep.
do that at Owners Club meetup?
No, I think she said she was going to do it at the next squad up, which will
Okay.
be in Tennessee, and it's already booked.
Nashville. Is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's already booked
Cool.
because you got to do it at least a year ahead of time.
Okay.
And I think it's going to be a little bit later in the year because, that was like the soonest they could get. I mean, they booked it like immediately.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, Nashville's amazing.
yeah.
I'm only 2 hours
So,
from there.
do what?
I said I'm only 2 hours from there.
Yeah, I'm so jealous, man. I think he's going to have like he said he's going to have like some country singers there as
I
well.
had heard that. I had heard that.
Yeah.
I hope so. That'll be fun.
Can't wait. Can't wait. This time I'm doing VIP because I thought that by doing VIP this time that I would be kind of separated from my friends and stuff like that. Because, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if we were going to be in a separate group away from everybody or what. But turns out that wasn't it at all. We just ate lunch with them and,
That's it.
totally could have. Yeah.
That's it.
So, well, we have a really cool story about Landon's Instagram handle before we go and share it. So why don't you give us a little prelude to how you got to be on stage with Pace Morby and Jamil Damji and the little form that you filled out and everything.
Yeah. So what happened was, he mentioned that he was going to have the hot seat that night and said that during the next break, as you're walking out, take a piece of paper from one of his team members and then fill it out, and they'll pick 4 or 5, forms to bring people up on stage. So when
So
I went in,
the hot seat is where they sit you there. You tell them like where you're at in your business, and they kind of give you suggestions on how to improve and stuff.
yeah, they had a form to fill out, and they would basically just go down the form and read. There was a question or a statement, and then you put your answer. So they just kind of went back and forth on those. But whenever I got the paper and I was looking at it, I just kept hearing everybody say, hey, what can I write to make mine stand out so he picks me? And then the only thing that I kept thinking was, well, you know what? No matter what you write on there, a stack of papers still looks like a stack of papers. So I folded mine into a paper airplane,
Mm-hmm.
and I put think different on the outside. And then whenever I gave that to him, I almost wasn't able to make it back in time for the hot seat. So that would have really sucked. But we were at the downstairs restaurant, and I thought we had actually missed part of it, but they ended up extending the break because so many people were gone, I guess. And by the time we got back and I sat down, he had a stack of papers in his hand, and I could tell that one of them was folded up, really a lot. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's about to call my name.
Right. That was another good indicator. You saw him with the paper airplane in his hand. You were like, you had like a little sign that you were next, and it wasn't a big surprise. It
Yeah,
wasn't
well,
like
it wasn't
Landon
still folded
Prather.
up into an airplane. It was unfolded, but you could see all the folds in it.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So we have a little clip that we're going to share where Landon was called on stage and they kind of go over what his Instagram handle is. Because Pace did go on at length about, straighten up your social media, guys. Make sure, people can find you or it makes sense or whatever. Okay. So I will share it. And then I think you have to hit play or whatever.
Yep, I can do that.
All right.
Haven't built up my social media, LOL. What's your Instagram handle?
Oh, it's bad. It's an old gaming gamer tag.
Tell us.
Explosive Beaver.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
I love it.
Bro, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. Okay. While we're in not suitable for work mode,
That's it.
one post.
Yep.
Wow, you actually typed that in. I love it. Okay, so good, bro. You know what? The freaking courage, dude.
Right after you roasted everybody yesterday.
I know, but that was for fun. It's all for fun. Okay.
Jamil can't stop laughing.
I know.
Okay,
Jamil
and I
kept
haven't
cracking
got my
up.
name out there enough. I think we're gonna fix that tonight. Yeah. Okay. You know what sucks? Is in like 5 years, what are you guys gonna remember about this guy? Oh, okay. How is she saying explosive beaver? Okay.
Oh gosh. Okay. Oh my gosh.
good.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. I mean, the audience was laughing for a long time. I think they cut a lot of the laughing out, but it went on for like, I mean, you sent me like a video clip from your phone or something that, oh my gosh, it was so funny.
I did. It was a good time. That actually got me a lot of contacts afterwards. So after I got off the hot seat, they ended the event for that night. I had lots of people coming up saying, "Hey, here's what I do. How can I help you in your business?" So that was awesome. I made a lot of really good connections.
Yeah, and that was the night that Pace bought us all drinks, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't even get a drink ticket because I was busy talking to people, and I was starting to lose my voice because I had already been staying up till 3 a.m. in the hotel lobby at the bar, talking to everybody all night, every night. And then I heard that he gave away those little tickets. They gave you a free drink. I didn't even get one.
I wish I would have known you because I had way too many. And I was giving them away left and right. Like,
yeah, I think somebody ended up giving me one, and I just got a drink with it, but that was cool. That was very nice of them.
They were making those drinks strong because, yeah, they were, because they were like, we don't want these people continuously coming up to this bar.
Right. Make it strong enough to where you don't want to come back.
Right. I was like, when he said, I'm buying everybody a drink, I was like, no, what are you doing? It's only day 2. Don't do that, Pace.
That's funny.
Yeah, but that was pretty necessary before we show people how they can get a hold of you.
Sure.
So if you want to get a hold of Landon, sorry, I don't have a production assistant. I have to do this myself.
You'll get there.
Yes. You can go to Explosive Beaver on Instagram. How did you get that gamer tag anyway?
That was, so this was probably 20 years ago or longer. I was in my teens, and Xbox, when it first came out, probably still does it, but it lets you just generate a random name if you can't come up with one. So I had cycled through 50 of them sitting there. I was like, I don't like any of these. And that one popped up and it made me laugh. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to run with this and just see what happens.
Right.
Little did I know it would lead to this.
And then Jamil came and talked to you at the bar before everybody started realizing it was him, right?
Yeah, it was super cool. So he came down. I was sitting at the bar, just having a drink. He came up. He was sitting right next to me. we got to chat for a little bit, have some good convo. And then, like you said, eventually people started seeing it was him. They came up, wanted to take pictures, so I get it. It's Jamil. It's Pace. Everybody wants a picture with him, myself included.
Right.
But, yeah, that was super cool.
So what did you guys talk about?
He actually talked a little bit more about his journey spiritually right now. So that was kind of a whole different side of what I got to see. And I hadn't had a chance. I hadn't really followed a lot of Jamil's stuff yet, because everything that I was watching and consuming was Pace, and then I finally saw him saying, "Hey, I worked with my really good friend Jamil, and learned about the astro flipping, all that stuff, and Keegley, all the stuff that he's doing is really, really big." So it was cool to get to sit and talk to him for a minute. But yeah, he was, mainly talking about like his spiritual journey since he had that accident and everything and all that stuff. So that was really cool, because I don't normally talk about that kind of stuff or hear that kind of stuff. So it was like a whole different perspective.
Yeah, it's a growing trend big time, this whole spiritual journey thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like seriously a growing trend right now, big time. But okay, so do you like how I got the little icons in their Facebook?
I do. Love it. Got the dark hair and beard on one, selfie on the other, emojis on point.
It's the one that looks the closest to you.
Should have sprinkled in some gray. I'm going all salt and pepper.
Yeah, okay. All right. Let's see. So thank you so much for coming on the show, Landon.
No
really
problem. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So guys, if you want to support the show, link is in the description. And thank you for coming on the show, and we will see you next time.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome.